Cyberpunk is a game that I invested numerous hours in. I remember I was surprised that I finally found a game worthy of being replayed. Before that, I hadn't had the need to replay a game for at least 5 years. You couldn't put a gun to this guy's head to ask me to replay Red Dead 2. Great game, but definitely not for replays.
Working hard? It's the lumbago. Get up!
I admit that I had no idea what Cyberpunk was before it came out. Seriously, somehow this flew under the radar for me until it came out. And even when it did, I honestly didn't care or see anything special about it. Then I heard the bad stuff, blah blah. For some unknown reason, a few months after it came out, I really felt like giving it a try. I literally had no expectations, and I heard nothing but horror stories about bugs and glitches in this game. But for some reason, I just wanted to play something new. This was around the time of the pandemic, which is probably why. I think it was the style that grabbed my attention. I swear I've seen Cyberpunk style before, but I just never really gave it any dub for some reason. I think it was because at the time I would see Cyberpunk as just sci-fi, and yeah, I didn't really care about it. And to be fair, they cooked with this style. Everything, open world design, architecture, structures, graphics, everything looks so crisp and beautiful. I seriously think this is probably the best looking game I played in the past 10 years. Red Dead 2 comes close, very close, but something about the colors and variety in Cyberpunk really gets my eyes wet. So yeah, I very legally downloaded this game with zero expectations and I loved it. For some reason, I came across 0 bugs from my first playthrough. The only downside is that my PC couldn't run it, so I played it like this the whole time. I didn't think much of anything at that time, however, probably because it looked like this, a Roblox obby, but I remember the ending being so real to me. I was the #1 Cyberpunk lacer at the time. I would keep hearing bad stuff about it for some time, but I was like, nah, it's good. And then Edge Runners came out and patch 2.0 came out at the same time. Now everybody was hopping on my wave. Yeah, just letting you know, this is my wave. It was cool seeing the anime restoring some fade in the game. Everybody was giving it a try, and not coincidentally, because it was planned, the game was basically fixed by then. This did however cause a problem for the game in general. The game is basically not ever talked about. I swear it's always been either the game is bad or the game is good now, but not as in the game is good, but as in the game is fixed. So I'm here to talk about the game because I felt a lack of that. This video will have spoilers for the game, expansion, and edge runners, because it somehow managed to be implemented into the game's lore somehow, which is cool. I hope this video isn't any longer than at least 30 minutes. I can already tell it's probably gonna be more, so I'm sorry about the yapping. And also, this is a very hard story to analyze. There's a lot of paths and stuff you can take, and also it's just very ambiguous because, you know, it deals with consciousness, life, and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm sorry if I get something wrong. Anyways, I beat the game 4 times and I play all 3 routes, but I'm mostly gonna be talking about the corporate route because that is the best one. From the get-go, this game is incredible. There is basically no loading screens, which I didn't notice until I was basically done with the game. This is one of those real-time cutscene games. Someone drives a car, you can tell it's the game engine. It's so smooth and fluid too. A lot of games at the time were getting a lot of praise for this, and somehow no one talks about just how good Cyberpunk does it. This has to be one of the best examples of real-time cutscenes, because the gameplay complements it as well. There is no hugging walls and slowly walking through gaps to let the game load. You're never stuck to the ground or in an actual cutscene. Well, there are a few, yeah, but like very little of them. The game never transitions from cutscenes to gameplay because there is none. It's not like in God of War where you'll see a cutscene and you can't move or do anything during it and then you'll actually smoothly transition to gameplay. No, here it's just gameplay. Do you understand the amount of confidence the developers have to have in their character models, details, lip sync, hair physics, and graphics in general in order to let you do this with 0 transitions or loading screen? It's insane work. You'll almost never see this amount of detail and work in character models because most games during gameplay don't let you get that close to characters for you to see the flaws in them. That, or they have a completely different model during gameplay and cutscenes. Here you can literally make out with the characters. Since there is no cutscenes, all characters just have this incredible amount of detail to them. Then just the way the characters move during these quote-unquote cutscenes is so smooth. They will move like actual persons, the way they interact with objects that in other games would just be meshes stuck to the ground. Seriously, it never fails to make me sploosh seeing a character grab something off a table and it smoothly goes into their hand. It doesn't snap to their hand or anything like it usually would. The whole game takes place in first person, and these are some, if not the best, cinematics you'll ever see in first person.
Be waiting outside.
They never get still or boring. Always something cool going on. And I swear every encounter you have with characters They always have unique animations. And you might be saying, okay, how is that impressive? That's your voice, by the way. Let me give you an example. In Fallout 4, you see this animation? Him literally just leaning on the desk? Yeah, that is a unique animation for this character and this mission only. Bethesda, no joke, only put it here at the beginning of the game because it was supposed to wow people during the first hour of the game. It was supposed to make the cinematics look livid and impressive. How the fuck is leaning on a desk animation supposed to wow someone? Oh, trust. Once you see the rest of this lifeless game, you'll be begging for any movement.
Moving. I'm not seeing enough movement.
In Cyberpunk, every encounter is unique, multiple really well made cinematics and animations, and it's just the fact that you always feel like you're hanging out with the characters rather than in a mission. It's things as simple as getting a text from a character or call saying, hey, can you pull up to this location? And then you pull up and they're actually there and they're doing something waiting for you. And then they ask you for small favors that would just be banter in any other game, like, hey, can you pick up this box? Can you turn off this switch or whatever? And I can already hear you asking how that is important or relevant to the game in any sort of way. Well, that's the thing, it's implemented so naturally that it just feels like you're just helping somebody. It doesn't feel like it's a mission or whatever. It really does feel like you're helping somebody or trying to get something from a real person. Well, not a real one, but you get what I mean. Usually a game would just coincidentally and very conveniently have a lot of stuff ready for the player already. Like, this character is here to tell you what to do next. The way I put it, after Cyberpunk and going back to other games, in those games it feels like you're just moving a character on top of a board game. You can see the world around you, but you can't really interact with it or be part of it, apart from, you know, the actual gameplay and missions. This game knows how to make you feel like you're part of the world, how to make the characters feel alive. It also helps that the characters are so damn likable, especially the guest of honor, Johnny Silverarm. Okay, first B, because you know that's the main character. I'll make this one quick since B is a weird abomination of the main character and you. B has multiple backgrounds and you can choose. And by the way, yes, I chose female B because if there is gonna be nudity, I want something I like to look at. Plus, I like her voice actress. B has a dream to make it big in her career of choice. She is a mercenary and she wants to be on top of Night City. What does that mean? I don't know, to be honest. I mean, in the most basic way possible for one of the endings, it just means being acknowledged by everybody as the best and by taking high-end jobs. That's something I really can relate to. See, I don't see that as a dream. That's more of a dream job. But I can see it as a goal at the very least. That's enough for me for B to work. But at times I kind of find it hard to sympathize with B because, I mean, everything bad that happens to her is kind of deserved. I mean, she is a fucking serial killer.
Prove it.
I mean, that B in B stands for something. Jackie's a cool dude. He's completely impossible to hate. In a way, he's the reflection of B, and that's done on purpose. He dies, spoilers, very early on in the story. Jackie's here to basically be the example of what you should strive for in Night City. To be at the top and to be remembered no matter what. Which is why this bar scene is so important. At first I thought it was just filler, but turns out it's one of the most important combos in the game. Basically explaining that you only get a drink named after yourself if you accomplish something worthy of legend status. And of course, the way you are remembered is as something as simple as a drink. But Jackie isn't just a character meant to be a heartbreak for the player for no reason. He had a dream of making it big but died in the way to it. They don't frame him as being forgotten after he died. He still has family and a funeral. By the way, there is tons of funerals in this game. I mean, Jackie was there for like 3 hours, yet he is so well written and likable that a whole mission where you do nothing but talk and listen is not a bad mission. Okay, Jackie does play a huge role in the story, but I'm not here to dissect the entire story. But his death is brought up in multiple parts of the story. B saw him die, and in a way she saw herself die. Oh, and then she did die. Yeah, B basically becomes a walking zombie with the Johnny Man in the brain. And Johnny Man is basically stealing her body because she died. And Johnny is by far the coolest character that I didn't understand at all at first. I was so confused. What could a rockstar possibly have to do with a huge military corporation? See, I like Johnny because his character works in a basic entryway. His girlfriend got killed by bad company. Now he hates bad company. To be fair, I find that to be the weakest of his reasons. To us, Alt was nothing more than a druggie and a supplier of drugs. She got railed backstage and yeah, that's about it. Ain't that the most charming character? Okay, yeah, she basically becomes internet Jesus. She's able to browse the dark web, so like Reddit and E621. Oh yeah, and she's important to the plot because she's the one who made the relic, which is the thing that has Johnny's consciousness in, and now is inside B's head and is slowly killing her. Which B stole from Arasaka because Jackie wanted to make it big, but then the mission went down and everything went wrong, and now it's stuck inside her head. See, everything comes around. But anyways, Johnny let a ton of his friends down for his own narcissistic agenda, and now that he realizes that, he's dead. His whole character is built around being stuck in the past, literally. He doesn't age because he's a construct. He is stuck in the past, unable to change it. For him, it was probably just a few days ago that he blew up Arasaka. But 50 years has passed since then, and now he gets to see how his past actions affected his friends. And when he eventually interacts with them, his friends tell him that, nope, it's too late, bro. Which, by the way, if my friend came back from the dead as a female with double D's, mischievous activities will take place. Now Johnny goes through a whole arc where he is changing his present self, although still been stuck in his 2023 self. By far though, I like his reasoning for hating Arasaka. See, Johnny, as you can see, is a rock star, and to most he is quote unquote living the dream. And Arasaka is a bad company that does a lot of bad stuff. But for years he has been working on the relic, basically transferring a consciousness, not soul, because those are different apparently, into code, basically achieving immortality. Problem is that it's also called Soul Killer because it does just that. So in a way, you're no more than a robot. It does bring up a lot of philosophical questions and whatnot, so let's just ignore that for now. But anyways, yeah, they kill people's souls, but then they take their identity and transform it into whatever they want.
I saw a corpse strip farmers of water, and eventually of land. Saw them transform Night City into a machine fueled by people's crushed spirits, broken dreams, and emptied pockets. Corps have long controlled our lives, taken lots, and now they're after our souls. I've declared war not because capitalism's a thorn in my side or out of nostalgia for an America gone by. This war's a people's war against a system that spiraled out of our control. It's a war against the fucking forces of entropy. Understand? Do whatever it takes to stop them, defeat them, gut them. If I gotta kill, I'll kill. If I need your body, I'll fucking take it.
You heard it. They basically take away your soul and in the process your dreams, because you need a soul to have dreams. So of course the rock star Johnny Silver Dingleberry would absolutely hate that. He was living the dream, but ironically he only gets to live that dream of playing music because of Arasaka. His Silverhand is manufactured by Arasaka. Yeah, what a hypocrite. And not only that, but he is doing exactly what Arasaka does to B, although not intentional. He is wiping B away, stripping her from her dreams, and taking her identity. Isn't that poetic? Yeah, no, I just checked the script and no, it's not rhyming. But seriously, that clears up my thing that I hated for a while. How Johnny switched up from trying to kill you
Now like that, stick some iron in your mouth and pull the trigger.
to
Are you still upset about the other night?
You tried to kill me.
Well, I gave it some thought. It changed my mind.
literally having like a ooh, I was just kidding, lol, like literally the next mission, which would be like 10 minutes later. But I think he realized that he was doing exactly what he hated Arasaka for, so I guess it kinda makes sense now. But in a bit of hypocrisy, he's also taking people's dreams, because he killed innocent people. But yeah, Johnny is so perfectly crafted. And now for the less appreciated character, Adam Smasher. Adam Smasher and Johnny have beef. Morgan is somewhere there, but he isn't in the game, which is why I won't talk about him. But I like the idea of Adam and Johnny having beef. It's never made clear to us why they have beef, but I think it's some sort of clash of ideals. Adam Smasher is there to stomp out any brave soul that is trying to make a dream possible in Night City. If you manage to make it into Arasaka Tower, you're near legend status. Now you need to make it out alive. And to Adam, stopping whatever you're trying to accomplish is the only thing that matters. He just kills you, hence the name Adam Smasher. Contrary to belief, I don't think Adam Smasher necessarily just kills without at least acknowledging what the person he tries to kill is trying to do. We see this with Rogue and David. With Rogue, he says,
And you killed her.
She knew the risks. You're talking tripe. I killed the old cunt.
All that means is that Adam just assumes she and Johnny were there for another mission like they normally would. He knows that they are mercenaries, and that's basically all he needs to know. They were trying to achieve something big if they're under the Arasaka Tower, but it's the fact that he even cares enough to acknowledge them that is weird. It's like he does it to get satisfaction out of stumping his victims. I find it hard to say he just kills to kill, because anytime he kills, it's usually someone important, someone strong enough to make it so Adam has to show up. For David, he acknowledges that he was a worthy opponent held back by cyberpsychosis. Adam Smasher feels like he coincidentally works in the themes of Night City. If you haven't noticed, dreams are a big thing in this story, and Adam Smasher is here to crush those dreams by literally smashing your skull in last second. You know how in literally all of media you always hear that cheesy ass line, "My dreams are crushed." He's like the living embodiment of dream crushing. You see, he sees people as rats. What happens when you spot one? That means more will probably come. Unless you get rid of it first, of course. If you don't, more will show up and they will take over. An infestation. I know what you're thinking, bro, that sounds like ants. Yeah, but single ants are literally unnoticeable, not a bother. But a single rat is. David had arguably the best ending in all of Cyberpunk. Beast ending in space comes close, but David tops it for me for one reason: Lucy in the moon. See, Johnny had the bad ending. He basically died for nothing. He nuked the tower of the company working on immortality. Isn't that funny? David though, he made it to the top of Arasaka Tower, which is what he promised, but more importantly, he made one dream in Night City possible: Lucy's dream. There is no taking down Arasaka. There's nothing that anybody can do to take him down. So the most you can do is fight their ideals and what they stand for. And having Lucy in the moon is the biggest middle finger to Arasaka out there. Truly a masterpiece of an ending. But anyway, Smasher is there to stomp out any rat from achieving something big. And Johnny has massive beef with the guy because he hates everything Smasher stands for. He's an obstacle. It's so clever. But that's enough about characters. There is tons of good ones. Basically every single one of them. You can even romance some of them. Like two. Two actually. Just two. You either Yudi gang or Panam gang. And I mean, there's a clear obvious answer here, and that's Panam. But seriously, you don't want to get caught lacking while playing this game. This game is on some serious prestige master gooner shit. I'm surprised it's not on the trending page of Steam 100% of the time, since that's all there ever is there.
Alright, let's rejoin the others.
Straighten up? This shit is telling me to lock the fuck in. Alright, look, the gameplay isn't particularly deep or anything. It's not mind-blowing, but it is super refined and it's really fun. Like, super fun. The most roleplay experience I've had here was pretending to be Burger Andy and just stealing food from the homeless.
Hey, do you mind if I have a slice of pizza?
No, but really, there is a lot of customization to keep you busy and whatnot, but there are stuff arguably better than others. You can also make some of the most atrocious outfits I've ever seen in a game. I personally go for a more goofy Chungus style. This is the outfit I wore to kill Smasher, by the way. And also it's weird because I've never seen a game before switch up core mechanics of the game after release. The whole perk tree got redone. Back then it used to be like, add a skill point to this perk to do 5% more elemental damage or whatever. It was very percentage based. Now it's actually skills and stuff. I noticed they nerfed the crafting, for example. There used to be a whole ass skill tree for that. Now it's completely gone. And yeah, it was broken as shit. It was super easy to get OP with it. But now the crafting and upgrading feels forgotten because of that. And another example is that you used to need to get grenades and meds. You would have an actual amount of them and you would run out of them. You would find meds in medkits and stuff, you know? Obviously. Like stimpaks in Fallout or something. But now you have an infinite amount of grenades and stimpaks. Now they're just in a timer. I don't really mind this change at all, to be honest. At some point I would have tons of grenades and stims anyways. But it's weird because now you'll see medkits placed all over the interiors and stuff. But now they have nothing in them but junk. So they feel forgotten. But I mean, they were all good changes though, I cannot deny that. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that. The game is super different now, but for the good. But something that's always been really good and has never changed is just how good the parkour in this game is. Okay, there is no parkour in this game, but you can almost literally climb anything you see. You can get into the most random parts of the city by doing this. And I never really fallen through a invisible barrier or anything like that. It's insane just how much freedom you have in this game. It's literally not even needed, yet you can. It's super fun to climb in this game. It almost feels like a cheap Dying Light copy, which by no means is a bad thing. In fact, it's a good thing. And that's even before you get the double jump. Yes, this game has a double jump, which is crazy. Once you do, you can literally go anywhere. And once you get air dodge, you can almost fly through the map. It's insane how much fun the traversal is in this game. It's the most unexpected shit ever. I just don't get it. How is this so overlooked? Just casually add the most decent parkour system to the game. And for how mesmerizing this game looks, it also plays so good. Everything melts together when you're in combat. When you understand how the game works, and once you have a few implants, mainly the double jump, this game becomes a sandbox. You instantly have so many ideas that you want to try out. And the encounters in this game are also perfectly made for you to try them out. Enemies are placed in specific areas, never does it feel like they just randomly drop them wherever. Since a lot of times you have the option for stealth, most of the time you're the one who engages in combat first. That means you get to choose which side to attack first. And that is the perfect sandbox. And something that I think is super underrated is interiors. Somehow video game interiors have managed to become so good over the years, yet no one talks about them. Let me remind you that open worlds back in 2008 to like 2010 were basically just homeless simulators. Open world basically meant that you get to go inside just some very specific areas for missions, but then during the actual open world, everything had to be confined into just the open. There will be no areas to access or anything like that. For example, in GTA 4, most open world activities would take place on the road and shit. Far Cry? Well, on the jungle. Prototype? On the streets. Anything that wasn't a mission basically meant staying on the roads and alleyways. I remember before GTA 5 came out, I heard rumors of you're able to enter every house and building. And thinking about it today, that sounds god awful. First of all, it would be impossible by PS3 standards, and it would just be empty buildings. But that's a thing that always used to be a huge want. Interiors. Going inside every building or whatever. I remember DayZ for a while was hyped because of that. You can actually go inside houses and take stuff. That's like real life. Well, now you have tons of games where you can go into multiple buildings in the open world. Heck, even just Warzone, you can just go inside buildings and stuff. But Cyberpunk takes it to a whole different level. Most, like 80% of interiors are actually gorgeous and super detailed. Just the way the windows are blurred and the way the light comes through them is so good. It really makes you feel like you're actually inside a place. It really sells the illusion of it being an interior. It doesn't just feel like a hollow box or a hollow mesh that you can just walk into. And the way the lighting adjusts when you enter or leave a building is also so nice. It looks really cool. There's so many things you can interact with that are useless, just there for detail. Actual people you can interact with inside. And most importantly, things you can interact with that actually matter to the gameplay and the sandbox of the game. Because of the hacking ability in game, you're able to do so much. You can control, turn off, use, and destroy cameras, and that's just for the cameras. There's so much stuff to do inside these interiors. You have trapdoors, doors, windows, lock variants of all of those, explosives you can hack, things you can jump over, pathways you can access. The interiors are super fun to be fighting in. They never feel restricted. In fact, I always like having fights in them. And that's just for the usual combat. There are also boss fights which are actually kind of fun to fight. They aren't anything special, but it's a nice change of pace. With all this great combat also comes some of the funnest side activities and missions I've seen in a long time. Okay, look, they're nothing unique or anything. We've seen this before. Get here, kill bad guys, take item, leave. It's pretty typical from an open world FPS, but here is so much fun because of the options you have. All the side missions have the same amount of polish as the main missions, and there is crazy variety. All of them are fun and interesting. Help a vending machine make friends.
Did I correctly hear you ask if I wanted to join you for a cup of coffee? Oh, well.
Help a clown with a grenade for a nose.
Oh, fuck.
Help convince a guy to crucify himself. Help crucify said guy. No, seriously, that's actually a mission in this game. And there's also the small missions where it's like, kill the bad guys, take the stuff, leave. But even those sometimes have interesting interactions in them. And they always have notes with conversations in them that tell you what happened. That's actually something this game does so good. You will find text that explain what happened, and they are always interesting and varied. I always find myself reading them. And it's not just copy and pasted material. It's actually kinda decent. At times you even forget it's one of the smaller side missions. These are basically Far Cry outposts, but they're actually good. There's also street racing, which is kinda lackluster. Fist fights, which are kinda fun. For some reason, melee in this game is just fun in general. It feels great and there's so much moves you can pull off. And there's cyber cycles, which are basically boss fights. These are cool, and again, they all have their own unique story, which again, they're always actually interesting and worth reading. Sorry, it's just that many games have done the whole read this piece of paper to find out what happened so many times, and it's always so uninteresting and boring. Like, do you actually ever read the Fallout terminals? Here they are quick, interesting, and straight to the point. They're almost written as if they're just text between two people, which is really good, because usually those are fast. The one thing that this game does kinda shit the bed in is in rewards. You do all the races, you get the car you race them all in. You defeat the cyber cycles, you get, I shit you not, a good chest. Seriously, like, just a chest you would find out in the wild, but a tiny bit better. There are unique weapons in the game, but they are usually just the normal weapons that you use already, but with a different name. And yeah, there are a few that have unique gimmicks, but to be honest, they're not even worth it, and there's not many of them. A few of them are kinda broken though. Yeah, those are actually letdowns. But this is one of those games that actually feels fun to 100%. You might even do it by accident. Now, I want to talk about Phantom Liberty. At the time it came out, I was so hyped for it. I was so down to go back and play Cyberpunk again. I just had replay, however, a 60-hour playthrough, but I still wanted to play more. At the same time though, Starfield also came out, and we all know how that turned out. But yeah, I kinda got sidetracked. I did play a bit of it on my Steam Deck. Yeah, believe it or not, I'm actually a psychopath and I have a Steam Deck. And turns out it's actually pretty fun to play Cyberpunk on it. It doesn't run it perfectly, but 80% of the time it's perfectly fine if you don't mind a few lag spikes. But now I finally play Phantom Liberty, and I thought it was just crossing the line of it being a good DLC. I don't know, man. So much about it didn't exactly blow my mind or anything. It was just more, but it didn't really feel like more. The relic tree was dog water. It was literally just stuff that could already be in the base game. With this skill, you can hold mouse and punch enemies away. Why isn't that a thing in the game already? Just make me hold the punch button and that's it. Why are you acting like we needed a whole ass skill tree for this? The rest are basically similar shit to this. And it's funny because during the storyline, you get an upgrade. That's what they call it, an upgrade. But all it does, they just give you 3 more points to it. That's not an upgrade. That's just, here, have points. Like, okay. And I think, I'm not sure, but they made a big deal about car combat. But I think I'm wrong about this, and it might have just been the update that came out at the time. And that's kind of the big problem for Phantom Liberty. A lot of major updates might have overshadowed what Phantom Liberty did new. And I'm surprised they didn't do anything with more car combat, because it feels really nice shooting in this thing. But you know what doesn't feel nice? It's the car itself. No, seriously, it has like GTA 4 driving mechanics. Yeah, that bad. I think they did kind of patch this because, to be honest, it's not nearly as bad as I remember it. But anyways, we also only got a small patch of new areas to explore. At first I was kind of disappointed by this, but I don't think we needed more. I really do think this was enough for the DLC to work. We really didn't need any more space at all. But yeah, it's hard to talk about what it did wrong because, to be honest, they didn't do much. They added like 4 stuff. You can count the new stuff they added in like a single hand. They added airdrops, which are actually kind of cool. The airdrops actually have unique weapons with gimmicks, and they're actually unique. They're not like a reskin from another weapon with just a different name. It added a new car, I guess. I didn't get it though, so I have no footage of it. So yeah, I think I'm gonna skip on Phantom Liberty for now. I know I just kind of skimmed through it. It just felt like more Cyberpunk. It didn't feel like it was this whole new expansion or something, you know, with different mechanics. They kind of tried to play it off as a spy DLC. It doesn't really feel that way. The DLC doesn't have many missions. It's kind of short. So there's not many times where you feel like a spy. There's only like 3 missions where you do. For example, there's this cool mechanic where you just take people's identity and stuff. And that's actually kind of cool. I won't even lie. That's a really interesting mechanic. But apart from that, I can't really think of anything really outstanding that I really care to talk about. Regardless, it's a good DLC. It didn't do anything wrong because it did little new. And what little it did new, it did good. Especially Songbird. She bad as fuck. If a baddie like that tells me to switch up on my homies, I'm turning into Itachi, I don't care. Now, they did add a new ending to this. Be in Space will always be my number 1. So let's go over that one first. To this day, it still gives me chills every time I see it. You feel the ambition and the melancholy feeling of solitude as you watch B disembark into the gig of a lifetime in the void of space. We know nothing about the guy who provided the gig, Mr. Blue Eyes is his name, and we know nothing about the mission. We just know it's big. Technically, if there's a good ending, I think this is the good ending. B is actually doing what she wanted with her life, and she's basically at the finish line. And I like that this final gig takes place in space, because space is a realistic dream to have even in real life. You know, whoever makes it up there worked really hard or paid a lot. There is no going more up after that, because space keeps expanding. B made it to the top, to the actual top. But Johnny is gone, Judy is gone, Jackie is gone, and now she is about to go. But everything she went through put things into perspective for her. You can feel the ambition in her eyes as she deploys to the gig that will cement her as a legend. It's a really good ending. If anything, that's the one thing that actually kinda disappointed me about Phantom Liberty. We didn't get more context to this ending, the casino, Mr. Blue Eyes, anything. But looking back at this ending, I think that's fine. All we needed to know is that B is gonna make it. Now, to the complete contrast, the new ending has B going to surgery and waking up after a 2-year coma. She got rid of the relic, but now she can't use cyberware. You basically sided with the CIA to get this treatment, which Johnny was not a fan of. I did find this to be kinda selfish and uncharacteristic, because B was desperate at this point, and B even asked Johnny multiple times if he was okay with it. That is the one thing I didn't like about Johnny, that he feels like an extension of the player rather than a different person. I know, no shit, but a lot of times in many missions and stuff, B asks, hey, what do you think I should do, Johnny? And Johnny goes, I don't know. Like, I get it, it's almost like a game design kind of thing where if you have a character tell you to do this, you're probably gonna do it. You get influenced by him. But man, I just want to know what Johnny thinks, you know, what he would say, what he would do. It doesn't mean that I'll do whatever he says. Anyways, I guess it makes sense because he hates corpos and whatnot, so it makes sense that he would be mad. He really wants nothing to do with them. So his final words to B are asking B if he thinks they can get through this without hating each other. For a minute there, I thought this was the good ending. But then I'm like, oh wait, this is Cyberpunk. Like, I swear this could have been the good ending, but then they just added that one line, which is basically, oh yeah, you're crippled now. And that's it. B looks completely normal and everything, but it's just like, oh yeah, you're crippled. And now that ruins the ending. Well, it doesn't ruin the ending, but it makes the ending a sad one now. But it's really funny how that just one line ruins what could have been a good ending. The good ending, I mean, not a good ending, because this is a good ending. Oh my god, am I making sense? So yeah, I realized that she basically can't ever achieve her dream of being at the top now, since she is too weak now. And that's kind of the whole thing about this ending. B basically had to give up her dream in order to live. But in the process, she basically became an ordinary citizen of Night City. Broken dreams and all. Saw her friend Victor turn into the corpos to survive. But the one good thing here is that Missy saw and acted before she also went down, and is now leaving Night City. And as a final shot, we see B blend in with the crowd of NPCs. She NPC-defied. And to add insult to injury, Rogue calls during the credits, and she rubs it in her face that B probably shouldn't show up to the afterlife because she isn't shit anymore. What a bitch. These two endings perfectly contrast each other. It was worth playing Phantom Liberty just for it. And lastly, I just want to talk about the Corpo ending because I thought this was such a cool ending as well. The whole time you hear Arasaka bad and you nod and agree, not seeing anything terribly bad from them. Yes, capitalism is bad and whatnot, but I mean, we don't see a cartoonishly evil master plan or anything like that. The relic is treated as a commercial item. It wasn't supposed to be a super weapon or anything like that. And I mean, you did instigate the beef between you and Arasaka by stealing the chip. The only evil thing we actually see is the whole alt thing, but who cares about alt? Anytime you fight Arasaka, it's because B wants something from them. So as far as you know, Arasaka bad because Johnny said so. But every time you meet an Arasaka higher up, regardless of how, they are always willing to help. Hellman, Takamura, Hanako, they are all honest and willing to help. Takamura literally saved your life. So at this point, you really don't feel any hostility towards them. Yes, the whole dream thing, blah blah blah. But it's not like you're ever after destroying Arasaka. That's Johnny's thing. It's always about B's survival. You always feel like B is alone. What I'm trying to say is that there's basically nothing in the line, ever. So at this point, why not side with them? As long as B lives and gets to keep her chance at her dream, you have nothing to lose. Or so you thought. If you tell Damien to send Jackie to Victor the Ripper Doc, Arasaka will take his body. And later on when you meet with Hanako, you'll find Jackie's engram.
Chica, finally! Mama told me things come to those who wait. Some are even good.
Jackie, it's really you.
Not bad being heir to the Arasaka Empire.
Remember anything about what happened?
Hit the major leagues, chica. Running with Dex. Badass black Jesus of the afterlife. A heap of Bartley gold-plated cool. Not bad, eh?
Seen enough. It's not him.
Afterlife. See you there.
Did you get what you expected?
Go fuck yourself, Hanako.
This is a prime display of what Arasaka is. Except now it's personal. They took your best friend, someone who you shared the same dream with, and they sucked his soul out and put him up to their own agenda. You thought you had nothing to lose, only to realize they somehow managed to spit in the face of something you already lost. You get to see firsthand what Johnny meant, why he hates Arasaka so much, and at first it kind of feels like wasted potential to have this literally in the last mission, but it's totally worth it because they bamboozle you so hard. This is a cool ending just for that. The rest is whatever, but this Jackie bit was actually super cool. With that being said, I'm done talking about this game finally. I felt like I had to talk about this game because it's been pretty relevant in my life for like 4 years now. It just always comes up somehow. Yes, I know it has flaws, it's not really an RPG, it's not what they promise, everything. It still applies, but to me it landed differently since I didn't have expectations or anything like that. And it also just seems to be a really cool time for Cyberpunk right now. Phantom Liberty just turned a year old, and a new Cyberpunk animated project is in the works. Which, by the way, I was like, what? That doesn't make sense. Studio Trigger drops a banger almost literally every decade. No way they would just work on something that quick. Turns out Netflix is the one animating this project, not Trigger. I'm kinda disappointed, but I'm kinda hopeful as well. As long as they don't touch David's story, I'm kinda good. Anyways, with all that being said, I just realized I never asked anyone to subscribe before in my videos, and I think that's a bad thing. So yeah, please subscribe. Also, maybe even follow me on Twitch, perhaps? Maybe? I'll probably stream some PS1 games, I don't know yet. So anyways, thanks for watching. Bye bye.